Well, good morning, Uganda. It's a Monday and we want to welcome you into the new week. We do know that it's till December and of course Christmas is around the corner, which is why we are starting off getting you some of those Christmas carols and of course getting you into the mood of Christmas, but also a lot is going on across the country and I know that you're probably also preparing for Christmas. Well, we are here to make sure that your morning today just starts off easy and quite cool, and with me is a big crew. I am Mollen, Kenyena. I do have Robert, Kirabo, Nyonyintono and Felix Nkunda in the house, and we'll be taking you through what is happening and what is likely to happen. And when I say that, I'm talking about the World Cup. Well, people made their bets right here. And well, it looks like probably somebody's not happy about this, but we did get through. That is Morocco, straight into the semi-finals. I am telling you, that is something to be grateful for this morning. And there are stories like, you know, France. But I'll leave that to Felix. Maybe you'll have to say a thing or two. But something exciting as well, we did see President Museveni talk about the African Free Trade Area. Now, we do know that most of the people in business have actually been looking out for the Free Trade Area. And of course, that is the FATCA initiative that is across East Africa. Now, if you're out there and you're a business person, this is one initiative you need to take very good advantage of and make sure that you can actually have your business in and out of the country with ease, but also ease in exportation, and also some of the initiatives within the African Continental Free Trade Area actually do benefit your business to make sure that you can be able to take it out internationally. Gentlemen, what has been happening across the weekend, and of course, what are the prospects as we talk about World Cup? I'll start with you, Felix. I don't know.
Good morning. How are you, Mollen?
I'm all right.
Aren't you happy this morning?
I'm okay. I'm happy, of course.
You want to talk about soccer? You may talk about it. It's okay. You're allowed.
You can as well talk about it, especially no, what do you have to say about Morocco? What do you have to say about France? Yeah, you can say something.
Well, if you ask me what I have to say about Morocco, it's next its way, and it's good for the supporters. That's all I can say. It's halabaloo happiness for you who support it, and definitely, of course, this only sad bit for me was Brazil. Honestly speaking, it was very painful to see my Samba boys march back home. And later on, of course, a bit of joy was littered into my heart when I saw France discipline the Englishmen. England is one of those places I call home. Yeah. And not that I have anything against them, but honestly and truly, looking at France with a big composure of majorly African players, it's why I have the sensation for it. But I can't wait to see the semi-finals. At this point, you don't cease to expect more and more surprises, as a matter of fact. So we expect to have a good game. Croatia did give us a good pace as well, also in relation to their qualification. So there's no doubt we have the right teams in the tournament up to this point. But something else that did happen in Uganda, we did also have the Interdepartmental Sports Gala as UBC. It was quite a run for money. I can tell it did happen there in Kawempe. But I can tell you as a matter of fact that it was talent exhibited beyond lucracy of initiatives of knowledge. You need to know that UBC harbors very talented people. And in all spheres, by the way, in terms of throats for noise, in terms of pitch, in terms of coaching, in terms of execution. And we did have the radios come on top. They won. They had I think they were only beaten by the engineering team, the team that did have a press conference. Later on, it was beaten against his press conference.
My dear, you should have seen that press conference.
I know.
I was like, okay, what are we dealing with here? Is this some team outside of UBC? But I'm like,
I can
wow.
imagine. But UBC came in, UBC TV, which we do subscribe to, came in second. I think they had 3 wins against 1 loss, 3-2 and a draw. Then I think we had the marketing guys come in thereafter. Then we had Star TV, and later on, of course, I think marketing or then administration. But you'll be surprised. I know for some of you who are watching these games, you must have had a good day. It was really a good day, and I applaud the organizers, the likes of Fakulu Wama and his colleagues. Eddie Mwesi, there's the captain of the radios, Gawa, and so many others, and of course the sports department with all the assistance from the administration and the teams. It was a good one. It was and the HR department, the support from administration, the PR. It was a good game. It gave us a good weekend, and those were the winners. That's now the radio, team radio, and that's the HR, I think, honey, of Captain Masajage from radio. We also had the HR, Madame Felicita Nalungo. Yeah. So for some of you who missed, I don't know where you are, but for all of you people, actually the whole country was at Kawempe.
Yeah.
We had very big dignitaries, including the people who flew in from FIFA and all those many places. But thank you so much. It was a good one. For all the guys who participated. I know most of the workers will not turn up for work today. So all the bosses and supervisors, please be considerate. Trust me, yesterday we saw the old guards come back, the young lads come. It was a good day. It was a good day, and we must say thank you so much to whoever put a hand in preparing this day. Well, that's why we were the weekend. That's the only thing we did throughout the weekend. We started preparing as early as Saturday, and the execution was yesterday.
Yeah.
So for some of you who are not there, look out for the next one.
Beautiful game, and of course you leave it to UBC to actually have that kind of tournament, and you actually enjoy it. Even the losers were just enjoying that.
No, there were no losers. And, they were participants.
Yeah, but the trophy, practically the trophy went to one team, so...
And others participating. Actually, others helped the winner. Now that was the press conference for the engineering department.
Oh my God.
But if I tell you the humility, now you say that they are trying.
These guys deserve to win.
When you speak a lot,
you
to match up to the words you've spoken. These guys... engineering, we love you, they may switch off the you leave the
I think we should just
put us off air right now, so you just but thank you for participating. They gave us a good run for the show, and they had a very beautiful jazz. In my opinion, it was one of the best. Their jazz and that of marketing. They had a good choice for their attires.
Very, very. It was a very good thing to watch, and of course we do know. Felix just gave out an invitation. I don't think you should miss any other game.
You shouldn't, please.
That of course we'll be having more of those tournaments coming, and we know that administration is actually also enjoying this. So obviously they will have to prepare more for us. Now, Robert, you weren't probably among these teams, so I'm just wondering if you were the cheerful person in the game, or tell us about your weekend, and of course how are you doing this morning?
I'm very fine. I thank God that I'm here and you're all here, and of course our viewers, thank you so much for waking up with us. I had quite a busy weekend because yesterday I had what we call a child dedication, like baptism, but for the born again community. It's not the baptism that we do but we delegate these children before the Lord. So preparations there. Then one of my aunties marked 74 years, so it was a combined function. I was very busy. There was so much of family sharing, sweet moments, reminders and all that. I must say that is what really took a bit of my weekend. But I was also following on other issues that were happening. For example, like of Kabale there, who were excited after receiving land titles, and the Prime Minister did hand over those land titles and emphasized how they must treasure these land titles that government has been able to give them or secure for them. But also, since this issue of attacks, Mollen, are something where security must continue investigating and really taking in Chabad, still over the weekend, there was an attack on a police station, but these very people had first shot and killed 2 people within that area who were suspecting maybe they could be criminals, and asked them, who are you, where are you going? And as they were carrying out their noble cause, then one came and fired at them and killed the 2 lads. So there's still some bit of concern there, However, security comes up and says they're on top of the game, no need to panic. It is something that they have fought before and they will really fight. So basically, I want to thank all the people that participated in this tournament, and of course the winners. Radio took that day with people like Felix that always tell me they are very, very skilled. Actually, he had told me that you're going to know that we have soccer now. That is the TV team. And when I look at Felix there,
oh my God!
you know,
What happened?
I now know why we were beaten.
Why?
Because they had Felix. Because they had Felix there.
No.
I now know why we were beaten.
No, Chibirango could have contributed a lot to even the
Chibirango
position we got.
was on the touchline. But let me tell you, I think we had the best team in terms of possession and passes and you know, good. But the challenge we had, I got an injury in the first half of. So my teams, and I can't say sorry enough. I can't say so. But as I told you, probably you don't know what could have happened. But that's good. That was God's plan.
Well, but at least you did show up for it.
That was the marketing team, Mollen and Bob. Those are the guys from marketing who gave us another good run for our money. No one expected, but they came out with over 4 goals, man. You can imagine. And they beat 2 teams. And among the teams they beat was administration. So this was our fear. You see, we were fearing to score against the guys of finance, the guys of, because people may have.
The people you don't want to have
you
issues
ashamed
with.
us, and now let's.
It is not necessarily ashaming you, but you, Kirabo, where do you come from?
You know, when I was in school, at one time we had a match between students and teachers, and so we had one guy who was very good. So when the teacher came to pick the ball from him, it was so tactical. That guy ended up hitting the ground seriously. Then he went limping. I said, okay. So the game turned into something else. So at the end of the day,
those are the guys from Star TV. That's the team from Star TV.
Yeah.
And
the uniform was the reason for the defeat.
Why? I'll tell the people who had the uniform for reason for defeat. I'm going to show you people once they put them on screen. We had people who had reflector uniforms. That is engineering. And their coach, if you see the coach on the I think that's the left. It's called Zagalo. He is. Unfortunately, he was flown in from Brazil, we are told. Clearly, he didn't perform to the expectation.
Probably the reason why they never got the trophy.
Someone was saying probably was because of but anyway. But these people were given an opportunity to touch the trophy before the game started. This is now the administration team. If you see PR, Madam HR, and of course a couple of guys there. That is the closest they came to the trophy before the match started, and there they were saying bye-bye to the trophy, which never came to them.
But also the uniform was outstanding in terms of color and reflection.
So they could have seen it inside.
And you see how Madam HR really looks nice in that uniform. It was a good uniform,
But you should have seen them in the sun.
It was more of a reflector. Easily to identify when they have the ball.
Then we got other reflectors there, people from radio. But they came out winning. One of the people who played nice in that game was the keeper. Clearly, Ndugu Masaja gave us a good one. He was one of the best goalkeepers, by the way. He blocked many balls. And also, Fifi Pinky Fiona, you should have seen her. You see, and Peter Otai, it is one thing to be on radio commenting about soccer, and another one
how to
play it. I
can feel like 27 times in 2 minutes. So we're trying to
I wish I attended the love school.
Well,
my God.
At least he was there.
I know why Ruben didn't bother. He said, "Is this someone a question?"
Well, I know why we actually
say atamukutea gamba.
Should have done this.
Get there.
In 2 minutes,
maybe next time you TV guys should actually take some of us, the ladies. Sometimes, you know, we're good at this, and maybe, you know, it will help. But well, we do have other stories that also did make headlines as we were coming into Monday, and we want to run you through those. We want to start off with the local stories. Robert, what do we have?
Well, we begin with His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who left for the United States of America to attend the US-Africa Leaders Summit slated for tomorrow, the 13th of December, 2022 in Washington, D.C., at the invitation of the President, that is Joe Biden. Museveni was seen off at the airport by the Vice President, Jessica Alupo, the Minister for Presidency, Babirye Mile Babalanda, the Head of Public Service, Ose Nachobe, the Commander Air Forces, Lieutenant General Charles Okidi for CDF, and the Director Crime Intelligence Uganda Police Force, Brigadier General Christopher Damulira, and the Deputy Commissioner General of Prisons, Samuel Akena. The President will make a stopover in the United Kingdom, where he will have some engagements. The three-day summit, hosted by the President of the United States, Joe Biden, aims at building on shared values and priorities, as well as to foster new economic engagements.
Now, the Intergovernmental Reflection Workshop held in Lochikongyo in Turkana, West Kenya, has called for culture transformation and breaking of barriers among the pastoral community in Karamoja. During the recent high-level meeting held in the area, leaders were asked to mobilize communities against cattle wrestling and high dowry demands among the Dodoth of the Kabong district in Uganda, now Topasa of Kapweta in South Sudan, and Turkana of West Turkana.
And moving to the fight against corruption, government has launched the Inspectorate of Government Whistleblowers Reward Scheme to recognize individuals and companies who will have joined efforts to curb down graft through exposing the corrupt. This is an attempt by government to safeguard the nation from losing resources to unscrupulous individuals. Government is committed to sustain fight against corruption with new measures aimed at making corruption risky. These include, among others, rewarding whistleblowers that expose the corrupt. According to the Inspectorate of Government, Betty Kamia, a lot of money often goes missing, which continues to deter service delivery. The Office of the IGG has so far managed to recover 30 billion that is now being kept on asset recovery account. The IGG is also investigating corruption cases worth 500 billion, some of which led to the halting of numerous procurements and activities that would have led to loss of public funds.
Now, in the next phase of digital connectivity in Uganda, National Information Technology Authority seeks to expand electronic procurement services across ministries, departments and agencies. Now, the plan is contained in the upcoming 5-year Uganda Digital Acceleration Project that seeks to spur and current ICT infrastructure across all districts in the country. The Executive Director, NITA Uganda, Hatwib Mugasa, says the US 200 million World Bank funded initiative also has 18% earmarked for cyber security.
Now we cross over into the international scene, where Iran has called in China's ambassador after Beijing issued a controversial joint statement with Arab states dealing, among others, with 3 disputed islands. Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Iran's rival Saudi Arabia on Friday, where he also sat down with leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. They issued a joint statement which contained several clauses that directly dealt with Iranian affairs, its nuclear program and its regional activities.
The issue that promoted a rare summoning of a Chinese envoy was the ownership of the Greater Tamb, the Laser Tamb and Abdu Musa, 3 islands in the Strait of Hormuz that have been governed by Iran since 1971 and are claimed by the United Arab Emirates as part of its territory. And in another story, China faces a surge in COVID-19 cases after partially erasing aspects of its so-called zero-COVID policy, a top government health advisor has said. The warning from the top epidemiologist Zhong Nansan in an interview with state media on Sunday comes after as official case numbers have dropped in China, a phenomenon largely attributed to the dramatic fall-off in testing due to the policy about face announced last week. The government made the changes, minimizing the scope of mandatory testing, allowing some people who test positive to quarantine at home and ending large-scale lockdowns. That was following a rare nationwide protest over the years-long restrictions. Across the country, urban areas showed signs of a population either afraid of coming surge or already grappling with infections, which Zhong says there were signs that hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of people are infected in several major cities. Now, the American Space Agency NASA has brought home its next generation astronaut ship after a near 26 mission to orbit the moon. The Orion capsule splashed down in the Pacific Ocean after a ferry re-entry in the Earth's atmosphere and a descent that was further slowed by parachutes. Because of this was a test. There were no people aboard this time, but this will change for the next flight. NASA is planning ever more complex missions with Orion, and this will likely start in the late 2024 and include in 2025 or 2026 an attempt to put humans back on the lunar surface. This was last achieved exactly 50 years ago to the day by the crew of Apollo 17. The agency's new project is called Artemis, who in Greek mythology was the sister of Apollo. Mike Serafin, the Artemis project manager, who has been ever present in media conferences over the past 3 weeks, couldn't hide his delight at seeing a perfect splashdown, as folks called it. This is what the mission success looks like. Well, NASA is always planning on how to go into the moon, and I think also conquering other planets, something exciting. And I think the exciting part is that we are also working with NASA to make sure that we do have satellite data. Just last week, the minister was reporting that satellite data is already coming through and we are good to go. So yes, we are part of that kind of success. But well, we do have more coming your way, and of course, you know, every Monday we always bring out a lot of prospects when it comes to advising you about your health. And this is where Uncle Bob comes in. Tell you something good about Hallelujah. Uncle Bob.
Well, Christmas is just around the corner, and one of the things that you should make your priority is your health. And how do you do that? To ensure that you're not disturbed by, well, you can't make some movements or you can't enjoy whatever you've prepared to enjoy with a majority of your friends. You need to ensure that you're healthy. And how do you do that? We have drinks that are immune boosters. Now, what these do is they are not treatment for sickness, but they just empower your body fighting ability of any disease. They empower your white blood cells to be able to fight off a number of diseases. That is Hallelujah Ginger Tea Drink, Hallelujah Tamarind Drink, Hallelujah Banana Fruit Juice. Now what these do, they're very good. They're tasty, they're sweet, you'll enjoy them. But also, you benefit in one way that you will be able to enjoy the entire festive season. You'll be able also to save money because you won't be visiting physicians. Why not give it a try? 1,500 each of the bottle, any supermarket, any retail shop, these bottles are available for you.
Well, grab yourself a bottle and of course make sure that you keep healthy for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for everyone around you. Well, we also do have Good Morning Uganda newsreel that will be coming up, after which we'll be taking you onto the roads to check on the traffic update. We will take you through weather as well, after which we'll be taking through a Good Morning Uganda agenda and of course the sports highlights that will be taking us into the hour of 9. For now, let's take a short break. We'll be back for newsreel.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.
Well, good morning, Uganda. It's a Monday and we want to welcome you into the new week. We do know that it's till December and of course Christmas is around the corner, which is why we are starting off getting you some of those Christmas carols and of course getting you into the mood of Christmas, but also a lot is going on across the country and I know that you're probably also preparing for Christmas. Well, we are here to make sure that your morning today just starts off easy and quite cool, and with me is a big crew. I am Mollen, Kenyena. I do have Robert, Kirabo, Nyonyintono and Felix Nkunda in the house, and we'll be taking you through what is happening and what is likely to happen. And when I say that, I'm talking about the World Cup. Well, people made their bets right here. And well, it looks like probably somebody's not happy about this, but we did get through. That is Morocco, straight into the semi-finals. I am telling you, that is something to be grateful for this morning. And there are stories like, you know, France. But I'll leave that to Felix. Maybe you'll have to say a thing or two. But something exciting as well, we did see President Museveni talk about the African Free Trade Area. Now, we do know that most of the people in business have actually been looking out for the Free Trade Area. And of course, that is the FATCA initiative that is across East Africa. Now, if you're out there and you're a business person, this is one initiative you need to take very good advantage of and make sure that you can actually have your business in and out of the country with ease, but also ease in exportation, and also some of the initiatives within the African Continental Free Trade Area actually do benefit your business to make sure that you can be able to take it out internationally. Gentlemen, what has been happening across the weekend, and of course, what are the prospects as we talk about World Cup? I'll start with you, Felix. I don't know.
Good morning. How are you, Mollen?
I'm all right.
Aren't you happy this morning?
I'm okay. I'm happy, of course.
You want to talk about soccer? You may talk about it. It's okay. You're allowed.
You can as well talk about it, especially what do you have to say about Morocco? What do you have to say about France? Yeah, you can say something.
Well, if you ask me what I have to say about Morocco, it's next its way, and it's good for the supporters. That's all I can say. It's halabalu happiness for you who support it, and definitely, of course, This only sad bit for me was Brazil. Honestly speaking, it was very painful to see my Samba boys march back home. And later on, of course, a bit of joy was littered into.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by.
Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda News Relatives. Now, if you're just joining us, we want to say good morning and welcome. This morning, we're looking at an issue that literally affects all of us. Now, National Drug Authority has launched a campaign that is a nationwide initiative to look at the drug safety in this country, the operations of it, and of course this will take in a lot of the places we go to, the pharmacies, the small clinics, the drug stores, the big hospitals as well. That is all within this initiative. Now, during the launch, we did see the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Dr. Ruth Acheng, also reach out to National Drug Authority on the operations, especially concerning drug theft. Now, that is where we want to focus on. When we talk about drug theft, we're talking about misuse of drugs or even distribution of drugs that are meant for another use, or the intended use is actually diverted into something else. It can be for sale, it can be for personal use. That is all theft. We want to just say it clearly and say that is drug theft. Now, she also calls on most associations, of course talking about National Drug Authority, the medical stores, to make sure that we are able to curb this kind of problem, the drug theft in this country. And of course that will take in a lot of initiatives, both from government part, but also from individual health organizations, from individual health centers, to make sure that we actually take down the problem. But speaking of which, we also want to understand, how big is this problem? How far has it gone? Are we far too gone that it's going to be something that might not yield? Or is this campaign one of those things we actually need? And this is where I want to bring in Robert. Tell us more about this. How big do you think we're looking at when we talk about drug theft?
Well, thank you, Mollen. One thing we must understand, that when we are talking about drugs, we're actually talking about lives of people. It's not just saying that it is just life, because even if there are veterinary drugs meant for animals, still it's about life. Now, the issue here in concern is these are public drugs or government drugs, because you can have your private health facility. You go, you purchase your drugs. People that come in there are coming knowing they are getting services they are paying for. And it is okay, we have private and public or government health facilities. Now the problem here is drugs in public facilities going missing and are being found in private facilities, drugs and equipment. You see how this has become a problem, that even equipment now is being stolen. Now, National Drug Authority, Ministry of Health, medical stores come up and say 30% of the drugs that are purchased by government to go in public facilities or government health facilities are stolen. 30% is a big number. Out of 100, 30% of these drugs. If you are to say out of 100, that means 30 of these drugs never reach where they're supposed to go. Now, these are supposed to be free drugs that you're going to pay a penny to get them. You move into a health facility, a government health facility, you're diagnosed by a medic, a physician or whatever, then they tell you now go to the pharmacy, they have prescribed for you, produce this, take these drugs, go home. And then you recover. Because health is a right. One of the things government has to provide is health for its people. So this is where the problem is. And you can't imagine that, for example, in Lango sub-region, drugs of an estimate of 200 million and above were recovered in this operation. Currently, they have been able to recover 200 billion. These are drugs worth 200 billion since they are commenced, and medical equipment. Now, that means that government spent 200 billion over a period of time, if you quantify this. And the drugs, these that were purchased plus medical equipment, because this also includes medical equipment. We've seen even medical equipment stolen, scans, microscopes, beddings. Most of these beddings that women used to deliver, that government went and bought them, put them in a hospital, they go disappearing. Remember during COVID, we saw oxygen cylinders developing legs and running away from hospitals, only to be found in some private clinics. So this is how big the problem is. 200 billion is a lot of money when we quantify it into the drugs stolen. When you look at 30% of drugs that are brought at the medical stores, national medical stores, now on their journey to these health facilities where they're supposed to be, either between, but what is also funny is that they even witnessed where they are going. Now when they land there, physicians have mastered the art of stealing these drugs, putting them in their clinics, or selling them. Some do not even have clinics, but selling them to other people who have these outlets. That's why they will tell you, we can prescribe for you, but when you go where do you get the drugs, only to reach there and you're purchasing government drugs you're supposed to be getting free of charge.
Well, quite unfortunate events, and of course you also look at the money involved. You know, this is money that can be used to actually boost the health system in the country, and if we're talking about those numbers, that's really a huge number to be dealing with. Now, we do know that drug diversion is a better match, or I would call it a far-reaching hazard in the country that of course has both legal and financial implications, both to, you know, you look at the medical workers themselves, you look at the health facilities, you look at, you know, medical facilities, but also the general public. And we know that government does play a role in all those areas to make sure that they safeguard the medication in the country. And this is where we also want to put a torch into some of these operations that are being carried out. We're talking about a nationwide operation. But has government really done its part? And Felix, if you could do us justice on this. There is you know, a lot being talked about, especially when it comes to medication, right from top administration, because you wonder, for example, Robert did talk about some of the equipment from COVID-19 that were, you know, found in people's hospitals. How do they get there? Has government put across good systems that can ensure that we safeguard medical equipment or even medication itself?
Well, I think government can only do so much, and I think at this point you need to also cut it some slack. Well, and I appreciate the fact that it's trying as much as possible to deliver medication, drugs, and all these things timely for hospitals. But however, we must look at the fabric of the kind of government workers lately. And this is what our argument has been consistently, that what are the channels in which people get jobs in government institutions? And these are the result of tribalism, sectarism, favoritism, corruption. When you use such ways to give people jobs, that is the evidence. When you ask money from Mollen to give her a job in an administrator, she will find ways to pay back that money. I think it starts with the kind of processes we have as a country. Do we have processes that get people into places? And this is the whole thing. It also works backward. Because in as much as government has a big role to do, it tries. It tries. You've seen some of them come on TV, arresting what. But that is the best they can do. The bigger part is played by the people, the citizens. And these all work into the system. For example, who is supervising? Someone steals drugs worth 2 billion, you said 20 billion?
Continuous recoveries, now we're in 200 billion.
You can imagine. The question is over whose watch? Who's supposed to be superintending over security of drugs in different institutions? As you go to arrest the Kirabos who own clinics, first arrest this person who superintends over. For example, you have a place where drugs are kept in an institution. How did the thieves access it? Because you never find a broken padlock.
Store, yeah.
No, they never break in. They are assisted. These are inside jobs. And honestly, government can do so much in such cases. These are doctors stealing medicine. It's as simple as that.
Stealing from the sick.
Well, one could say that. But these are doctors, these are medics. In fact, these are Ministry of Health workers. They connive. There's one time one of the journalists did an investigative report, if you remember, which brought him problems, and I think the better half. And it was implicating some of the people at the ministry. As he normally says, it's a chain. We cannot talk about, you see, honestly, theft worth 200 billion cannot be castigated by these 190 thieves. As I've told you, they have never shown us a store where medicine is kept in a hospital and it has been broken. And
you see these drugs disappear gradually.
That's what I'm saying, that if
it's not taken at once.
If the case was about breaking, burglary, house breaking or store breaking, there would be. But they have never told us that when you went to Mulago, we found a padlock broken, but medicine somehow finds its way out. So the question is, who superintends over safety of drugs in these institutions? It's as simple as that. Now, because the superintendents have not been culprits in all these investigations, it gives us a mind to think that even the people who are arresting others are part of the racket. Why are you going to the end user? Why don't you want to touch a Kirabo who's a superintendent of whatever, I don't know what they call him? You get the point. And this is woodwinking for us, the public. When you see Bagadebo Clinic Musatu, that's rubbish. That's rubbish. Before you go for them, this place where they didn't break, who does the inventory check in these hospitals? And how often? Do we have officers who do inventory check on a daily? That today we have seen how many patients we have dispatched this much of medication on a daily. And the person is able to query. Today, Muriko Zetula Muntu was sukari, edagaria sukari yaraziwa. Where is the medication for people with diabetes?
Most disappearing are malaria and HIV drugs.
That's the question. But that's what you call inventory check. Who's doing the evaluation, the monitoring? Who's in charge of quality assurance?
Because actually these drugs, they have a record for when the drugs are given out.
Actually,
so the records would lead you to how far there has been use of this medicine in the hospital.
2, not 1 + 1 11. Now for them they are using a 1 + 1 = 11 approach, this government. They're just playing with us. So Because it is simple. And these things don't rocket science. That's why when I don't get excited when I see Batimbi that's for them, for their camera time. But it's just simple. Go to Mulago. There's a register, right? We treated 20 patients malaria, 30 today we dispatch medicine, pharmacists. Okay. That's the purpose of superintending. Okay, today, doctor, how many do you see? What recommendation? The pharmacy, how much you release? On a daily. How do you tell me there is theft of medicine? Go to them boxing. And then people steal a mattress and you say, even if you're taking the mattress in a car, it is visible. Yeah. That means even the gatekeepers are part of the theft. The theft starts from the bosses, the gatekeepers, the sweepers. Honestly, we are talking about, if you are talking about over 200 billion, that's not one tablet. Yeah. These are boxes and boxes. So they are picked, they are packed in cars or taken on borders. The gates are opened. Who checks? Why would someone get, because why would someone get out of a gate of a big institution like, for example, Mulago, without the security checking? That means the security members see the medication and they allow them to go out. It's as simple as that. That's why such stories, they are just us, they make us who discuss these stories look like we don't like government. But it's simple foolery. They're just fooling everyone. You get it? It is 1 + 1. Starting from the people who do inventory taking. Kirabo is there, is the one who dispatches medicine. You're saying Panado Yabuze. Where is the Panado? What is Kirabo saying? Oh, did you give it to patients? No. So that's why Mollen and Robert, for me, these stories are just, they just want to put us in problem.
But also you have to agree with the fact that some of the things us as the public you're unable to see, because you know these are doctors that are solely responsible for some of these things, because there is someone who is as a pharmacist who will describe that, you know, you probably say this medication is going somewhere, because we're talking about public hospitals, and this is where I think we should also be responsible as communities.
Mollen dispatches 2 boxes.
Well, what if they're saying it's going to another hospital? As a gatekeeper, you now have to I'm not a medic. This is what is going on. This is what is going on. But I think the problem reaches far, actually. And we want to understand how the public comes in. Are people even aware of, you know, what they can do in an issue like that? And, you know, you look at community responsibility as well. And, Robert, if you can tell us more about what you think the public so far is able to contribute, or even are they able to report some of these instances when they see them?
Well, I want to begin by just responding to some of the things my brother rightly said. You see, in the fight against corruption, in the fight against drug theft, there is what we call syndicate theft. Now, syndicate theft means that, or syndicate corruption, that this thing is not done by one individual. It's a racket, it's a chain, it's a group. And unfortunately, that in this country, even if you're to make transfers, the person who will come will just inherit what they have found. That's the biggest challenge we have. That when you talk about drug theft, one, these drugs, you may discover boxes, but they never leave hospital as boxes. Sometimes, I remember one time, there was a cleaner who was arrested, that as this lady seemingly is taking out garbage, you think there is garbage being driven out, yet these are drugs. But now, she's neither a pharmacist, she neither works in stores, but how does she access? So it is a racket, and you see, that makes it complicated to fight. Because even when you come to investigate, Mollen, if I'm a beneficiary, I'll cover up what you want to find. You get it? I'll find a way, because we are all benefiting. It becomes technically complicated than how you would say it is easier, because even the person you're going to come and tell to help you provide certain information may not give you the right information. So that's why it is easier for National Drug Authority to go to these pharmacies, because then for them you find them with the medicine. It is simple. You come with your team, open up, check, then you do what we call tracking back. Okay, if you say you bought these medicines, you bought them from who? How did they get to you? Then that is when they will reveal that for us, this is our supplier. Wait for him, he comes this layer trap, then you nab them. Then going on the role of communities and public, I must say Ugandans, we've reached a level where we've normalized the wrong things. Actually today in Uganda, acting normal, you're seen to be abnormal. There are certain things that we've agreed, we've become complacent. We've agreed to live with them and say, mu Uganda ebintu bwebityo bwebikola. That Mollen and Felix, I'm sure you've gone to a number of places. But someone is telling you, leave away what you're thinking, things are done right.
Yeah.
This is the other way of doing things. That today, a Ugandan may not be concerned of who is stealing medicines. That these are government drugs that are being, will have I don't care attitude. Then someone will tell you, everyone in the government, they are stealing. So unless there is where they stand to benefit financially, is when, or they have wrangles outside a pharmacy, then Mollen has started and I want to be, to outcompete, then that is when I'll say, to fail Mollen, I know she's selling stolen drugs. So we've reached that level. Government of Uganda, this is the criteria they use. When these drugs are purchased, they're taken to the national medical stores and they are heavily guarded and put there. Records, everything is clear. Then even when they are taking them to these different health facilities, they're under protection. But guess what happens? Once they reach there, and sometimes even communities are lazy because under the current law, it is even a requirement for local authorities there to be around and witness these stocks and ensure that what has come is exactly what they have gotten. Now, I've seen a number of times when medical doctors, when medics are arrested and they have these private clinics, guess what the members of the committees are saying? Dr. Afemuleke, fekasta tujanjaba, omwana Afemuleke, fetufuna treatment, namaro government dagara. They are saying, leave our physician, leave our doctor, the boy of the area, he treats us. Because a person, instead of going and lining up, he will go to this funny clinic. Doctor, I have a headache. How much do you have? These are some drugs, remember. How much do you have? Doctor, I have my 20K. Okay, let me give you, treat you. But please bring the balance. And these people recover.
But can we blame them? Because we also have to look into the fact that they have been failed by the public hospitals.
But they failed to understand that together we can end this. If I can afford, I have my certain clinic I go to, and my children even go there. Even if I don't have money, I just get a phone call. Oh, doctor, what's your budget? So communities, because of, I would say, frustration, that they have not joined to fight. Because much as we say there is drug shortage in our hospital, but you must also accept that there is drug theft. So if you're not willing to swallow that bitter pill, that let's fight this, and we commend and we are proud of those that give, because they make life comfortable for us. Mollen, I could be able to pay that 20, 30 to this doctor, they treat my sick child, or even I tell him I'll give you money at the end of the month or when I get, but there's someone who is not able, and that person must get these drugs I'm going to purchase from a public health facility. So we've normalized it that communities will not resent, but they will receive with joy. People carrying out these abnormalities in society. Imagine even when they go to this public hospital, someone will tell you recently, a friend of mine, the wife was giving birth, but when he said, okay, you've chosen that, said, doctor, go to it's just normal that for them, that's why we've gotten, you know, Kirabo, don't you have any doctor? Don't you have, we must find, until finally still they found go. So we are not willing as communities to swallow this bitter pill to change things, because that's about communities. But as long as we are comfortable, we even say, doctor, So that's where we've gotten.
Yeah, and obviously we shouldn't be comfortable with this kind of system. Obviously it's not good, and we do acknowledge and know that drug diversion or drug theft is a felony that will attract prosecution, that will attract lawsuits, malpractice suits. And probably this is why also Honorable Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng is proposing that there be a law amendment into this kind of issue, looking at the drug theft, if there are laws that are attributed to that. But Felix, we want to understand, is this the ultimate solution that we could be looking at? Do you think amending the law is what could easily get away this? But also, while at it, how far is the law far-reaching to make sure that we end the problem?
You see, as I said earlier, Mollen, sometimes when we discuss the law, it is simply trying to soak our heads in dry sand. I think the problem is bigger than legislation. It is bigger than legislation, and I try to highlight, even Bob has done the same thing, that if we try and make it look like the problem is the absence of law, we are simply buying time for the thieves or the whatever you want to call them, simply buying time. The real issue is about strategic administration of government facilities. One of the biggest employers in the world is government, but it loses a lot of money because of bad strategic management. And that cuts across in many areas. You go to institutions like the National Waters, before the UEB, the electricity, you go to the revenue. There's a lot of loopholes, and where workers use those loopholes when it comes to, when you go to corruption in revenue. Same things you're talking about, only that I think you don't talk about them so often. Those things. When you go to National Water, they cut off your water in the morning, like that's
then
how
another team comes
then after that someone else comes on, go what day, then someone comes also, and then in the afternoon someone comes. Something about in electricity. I remember when I was a young man, they come like 5 people in one day. You go, let me go and pay. Because and that is government, that is how people work in government. You're not going, these things of laws, you just because let's take an example in other places where there are laws. Look at corruption. Which bigger form of corruption do you want in medical facilities than stealing of drugs? Okay?
We get doctors who have asked for 20,000.
But are they
I
charged?
have cases.
Are they charged?
Who charges them? Because, let me tell you, I have a case. I know one of my students one time opened up and told me, you know what, when I was giving birth, I almost died in one of the government facilities because I didn't have 20,000 on me. See, you people are even looking at drug theft, but people are dying. You see these stories on TV every day. 5,000 shillings to put you on a bed, but the woman is going into labor. You give birth, they throw you there on the ground with your baby, will be there so Messiah, because you don't have what? So the problem is bigger than the absence of the law. When you let these people not make us feel like the law is missing. When the law comes, there's nothing the law is going to do if we do not put strategic, institutional management criteria in government institutions and facilities. Government has fallen short of managing and administering its employees. That's why one time I told you there's a power vacuum. Everyone who is employed by government has power. You go to an institution, starting from the receptionist, they are the brokers. When you go to government hospitals, the receptionist go to government. You go inamu Dr. Kirabo jamula bamangu. Ogena musikani data yebidi. Eja simanyo. Pivyo. So, what is the law going to do on that? Already what is being done is covered under the various laws around.
Much as they could be having a few gaps here and there.
But there are covers. We have a law that covers corruption. That's part of corruption. Theft, the penal code is clear. And the grounds are listed. So, which law? In Uganda, we have to legislate abatunzi b'engatto mbakolere etteeka abatunda empuuta bakolere etteeka ab'omubutale teeka. But the laws we have, we are not exploiting them. The laws cover all of these crimes.
But Felix,
misuse of government funds is covered under the law.
One thing is, I always ask myself, and this I've done over a period of time, I've covered a number of stories of we've arrested, government has impounded. But what makes it hard for successful prosecution? Because this you must also understand. And usually I ask my land friend here,
and I can
and I ask him most of the time that, Felix, help me understand. For you people, what evidence do you need?
You know,
when you say
Robert,
beyond reasonable doubt, on my village, just to conclude, we don't find with someone's chicken. And then we go to innocent until proved guilty by beyond reasonable doubt.
What if he picked the chicken and was returned
What
to the owner?
Someone is found with the boxes.
No. In a civil society, we don't act primitive. And that's why, in as much as we detest criminality, we do speak against mob justice. Events like mob justice, we do. And the presumption of innocence is constitutional, because many people, Robert, and you're a journalist, so Mollen, you people have lived, you are elite people. You know how many people have been accused wrongly because of bad laws and systems and rushed processes. But also, the presumption of innocence, it sits in the anchor of having the right people on the right charges. You've talked about syndicate. There are people who are used and they don't know, and that's innocently. So that's the purpose of the presumption of innocence. However, I can't blame court by far for such criminalities, because court only looks at what it is given. It has no mandate to guard research. That's not the duty of court. The prosecutor brings, the investigating officer brings, and the defense comes. That is what court deals with. Court has no power to say, that's not the duty of court. It only looks at, so if you're not giving it the right information.
So would we say that this lack of a successful prosecution of these people, we blame it on the
investigations. And investigations are curtailed because of the things we are saying. What you say, what I'm saying, what Mollen is saying.
So the evidence is not there.
Because he calls it the racket. It's you know, at the end of the day, investigating officer becomes part of the racket because the money is there.
And it's really
the money is having sold it over is so much on that plate.
Now, what do you want the judge to do? To produce evidence as
it's quite unfortunate that we're still at the same roundabout talking about an issue that actually does affect every Ugandan, and at the end of the day, it's the patients that actually get affected. People are dying, and of course now we have to look at it as a far-reaching issue. Obviously, we are talking about, you know, the fact that awareness is not there. This has been an underestimated problem, and we still call for more action on it, and which is where we also hope that government will do more in the systems to make sure that we do have a safer environment within our medication facilities. Well, we will have more in the newspaper review for this morning. Later than that, we'll also be going into the road to give you traffic updates and then the weather. But for now, let's take a short break.
The festive season is here, and it's Christmas in 4G from Airtel. Get the most affordable 4G smartphone in Uganda, now heavily discounted from 250,000 shillings to 150,000 shillings only. Yes! 150,000 shillings only to keep you connected to your loved ones this holiday season.
Dial *175*94# to activate free 1 GB instantly and 100% double data on all weekly and monthly bundles for 3 months. Get one today while stock lasts from the nearest Airtel shop. Happy holidays this festive season with Airtel, the smartphone network.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
In the papers for this morning, we start off with a New Vision. Land matters now. Over 500 face eviction in Gombe. That is a story to catch on page 6. But they also give you a big headline right there. 41,000 schools face sanctions. Now, ministry says only 31,754 beat registration deadline. That is a full story on page 5. They also give you a big picture right there. Museveni tips African Army officers on commercial farming. Now, that also involves a lot when it comes to the National Defense College of Kenya at State House, and that is where the delegation also arrived in Uganda with officers where President Museveni was speaking to them. In the New Vision 4 this morning as well, State House probes veterans' pay. Now, government has instituted an investigation into that. That is a story on page 3. And district engineers on spot over forged accountability. That is more in the New Vision 4 this morning. Umeme exits, 2,100 jobs at stake. More to look into that on page 8 of the New Vision. But also, crossing over onto the second page, government to support fruits, vegetable exporters, and looking at the country exporting 57 million tons worth $32 million US. And of course, that is one we can look out for today in the New Vision.
Now, of course, the Daily Monitor payroll scam costs taxpayers billions, and World Cup, where we see Morocco makes it fourth time lucky for Africa. Now, even occasional drinking could harm your health, and short traffic officer sues government, and 4 die in Buheju gold mine accident, and also exercise to keep hypertension at bay. Experts say out, but IGG rewards Monitor for exposing thieving officials. Still in the Daily Monitor, inside the Storm is reporting the story, and of course vandalism of power lines exposes country to load shedding.
Well, we look at the New Vision Sport for this morning. The World Cup paper, of course, taking you through what is happening with the World Cup and the day's biggest story, Croatia rocks, and some of the expert opinion right there of how far Croatia could go, especially with the remaining games. And of course, that is right there for you. Moroccans yearn for that big prize. They have their eyes on the World Cup, and also taking you through what is expected and how Africa is rooting for them. Could Kylian Mbappe still Messi's thunder? That is also one to look out for. Argentina owes it to the goalkeeper Martinez. Much of those stories in the New Vision Sports.
Now in sports, Morocco makes it fourth time lucky, and of course they give you the recount of countries that did make it. 1990, Cameroon went past brush with World Cup quarters. There, and also Senegal 2002, and 2010 Ghana. While we see Morocco, the talk of town, and of course end of the GOAT, no heat of the moment decision. Cristiano Ronaldo says there is no point in reacting in the heat of the moment about his future. And of course, still about Daily Monitor Sports, Doha Streets calling out to Morocco, and the end of GOAT. Ronaldo leaves Qatar in floods of tears.
And we look at the Daily Nation. Help me find Barry Kimathi before I die. That is a voice right there as Kenyans celebrate Jamhuri's Day. And of course, the widow reaching out to King Charles and President Ruto about that. That is a story right there. But also looking into expect bigger hustle fund, says Ruto as he doles out goodies.
Well, still in the Daily Nation, we'll be looking at a couple of stories where we also still see in the same papers the column where IEBC comes out to give clarity and mention about where carriers meet untimely death, and they give you a recount of that, and the 3.2 billion payout for landowners along Kenol-Morua Road. And what did you say earlier? Expect bigger hustler fund, says Ruto as he doles out goodies. And still about the Daily Nation, they give you where to find most of some of the education pullouts and higher education, how the country is equally moving towards vocational studies. One of those works by William Ruto in relation to his hustler plan.
How far is that going, though? He talks about Hustler Fund so much. You think really Kenya has something to count for it right now?
He's already kicked off, and I understand that he'll be at Kimuri, and he said that many people who will make attendance of this particular function will leave with good bursaries, he says. There's been a Hustler Fund already put in place, and beneficiaries already on identification. So definitely I think Ndugu Ruto is giving us a run for the benefit of what we expected, clearly, no doubt.
Well, we do wish Kenya well in that, but I think that is also something that we should be considering here. We also have the PDM, Felix, the Parish Development Model money. That could be a hustler fund, and right now
yeah,
yes.
Replication in Uganda for that matter. But of course, for us here, we've had several of those. The government has put quite several of those. For the Nyonyintono, we have had Operation Wealth Creation, we have had Gawale, and many others are here in Myoga. And now most recent, the Operation, is it Parish Development Model, which they have pushed very much and quite fast. So we hope the results will be quite evident in Ugandans. And for those of you who have already benefited, please come out and tell the people the success stories, you know. So for me, I think we can only wait until we hear some of these stories, the success stories. Mollen.
Sure. And well, of course, this morning we also have some of the feedback coming in as people give their opinions on the drug theft in this country. And one of them, of course, coming in right here, public drugs in medical facilities. That is from Moses in Deje, saying that he's perturbed by the drug chain insurance in Mulago Heart Institute. He's pointing that out and says where patients' money will have to pay money to access a doctor, and all tests in the institute are paid for by the patients. The doctors here are among the best paid in the country, but worst of all, the prescribed life-saving drugs have to be paid for by the patient. This leaves a gap for the control of the life-saving drugs on which patients have to live on for the rest of their lives. Well, Moses right there also expressing his concern on that. And then we have one more coming in. Right there saying, good morning, government drug found in private places are just diversions. Most stolen stuff are taken outside the country and even cleared out to pass at the borders. Well, that is also quite concerning right there. And of course, someone else is saying, if MPs share public fund in millions, executive can take chunks of money as classified, accountability, and talking about the figures right there, giving 15% of the budget, and drug theft is a history. That's an interesting one right there as well. And of course, we do appreciate your opinion on this and being a part of Newsreel to discuss some of these issues. Right now, we want to take you through onto the road to see how the traffic is looking like. It looks like we are starting off quite clear. We're talking about the Kampala-Jinja Highway. Looks like we have quite some clear traffic right there
but as well as you head into town, that's where issues start to come in, as you see most of the traffic also starting to build up right there. And of course, heading into Kampala, you do know that in the morning Kampala Road also does get a little bit of traffic, but away from that, we want to take it to the other side of Hoima Road. We're taking it to the other side of Bombo Road as you're joining the expressway, but also far from that as you join into Kampala Road right there. Now Hoima Road, we look at the area across Nakulabi right there. We do have a little bit of traffic building up in red lines. That also takes in areas close to the traffic lights right there. But if you could use Valentuma Road, it looks like it's quite clear for this morning, showing some green lines right there. So that will be one to take to avoid the main road coming in from joining Hoima Road as you're heading into the city center. You look at the Mengo side right there. That is also, it also has a little bit of traffic building in. So that is one you would want to avoid as well. But also another road to look out for if you're coming in from the northern bypass is as well looking at Sapolo Kagwa Road. There's a little bit of traffic as you leave, you know, the main roundabout right there from the northern bypass. But as you come into, the road is quite clear heading into town. As you head into Makere right there, that's where traffic starts to build up right off the traffic. Now for those leaving Kampala, there's a little bit of traffic, but then again, as you join in from the traffics, there's quite some clear traffic. But again, it gets worse right there as you're joining into Kampala Road right there. Raga North, you can't expect to have your traffic building up right there. So that will be one to also look out for. Now, also, if you're likely to take a detour through Chadondo Road, that is also one to look out for. It has a little bit of traffic in red lines right there. That is one that you need to be careful about. Now, we'll look into more Yusufule Road. Right away from Makere Road, that is also one clear road, but there is just a little bit of traffic building up as you're heading towards Wandegea roundabout, especially if you're using Makere Hill Road towards that roundabout. There is traffic building up for those leaving town, but for those coming into town, it looks like it's quite a clear route with generally green lines over there. Now, also, if you're using that roundabout from Mulago heading into Kampala, that's one to look out for. It also does have a little bit of clearance in terms of traffic. Now, we'll look further onto Yusufule Road as you're joining into Kampala Road. That looks to be a clear route. It looks like it has quite little traffic, so that will be one to actually comfortably use if you're getting onto the Kampala Ginger Road. That will be one to take, and you avoid a lot of traffic coming right there. But also some of the roads also within that area, Nile Avenue is quite clear with green lines, meaning that it will be one to use with ease. Access Road as well, it's quite clear, but also the lower side of Access Road as you join into Kampala Road, that is one to look out for. That is where we have a little bit of traffic building in. But the main Ginger Kampala Road is quite clear with mostly green lines, meaning that those coming into town and those leaving, we have more clear roads, except some of the roads that are joining in. You look at Entebbe Road joining into Kampala Road, that is building up with traffic, but also because there are traffic lights right there, it also does keep in traffic, and also the construction going on Entebbe Road also does bring in a little bit of traffic heading over there. Now the roads down City Square, it looks to be that it's kind of clear if you are getting into town, but those leaving town, there is a little bit of traffic building up in orange lines right there. So that is also one to look out for this morning. Now, as you continue through Kampala Road, those heading into town, there is a little bit of traffic right from City Square right there as you're joining Bombo Road, so that is one to look out for. But also for those leaving town, joining Kampala Ginger Highway, there's a little bit of traffic, so that could actually take you a lot more minutes if you're using the main road. Now, if you could take the upper route, especially for those leaving town, it looks like there is quite some clear traffic with Buganda Road right there, and that would be one to take if you're joining, if you're leaving town and you want to avoid the traffic. Well, away from that, we also want to take a look at what is happening across our skies, and of course we'll be tapping in from our satellites this morning, that is across UMITSAT satellites, and take a look at what is happening within the weather world this morning. Now, we did start off with a little bit of clouds building up for most areas within the Lake Victoria Basin. That was also bringing in a little bit of rains, especially for areas within the islands of Lake Victoria. It looks like most of those systems are trying to clear up, but we do still expect rains, especially for areas within the eastern parts of Lake Victoria Basin. We're talking about areas of Jinja, we're talking about Tororo. We did see a little bit of rains this morning over the same area, and that system seems to be still there. Looking at that green color right there into the deep blue, that is the system we're talking about, and of course that is also still extending towards the central part of Lake Victoria Basin. So most likely that will also be bringing us rains for areas within parts of Kampala. You look at Mukono right there, Wakiso, Entebbe, could be looking at a rainy morning for today. That is resulting from this system that is continuing to build up across the eastern side of Lake Victoria. We also are looking at mostly a sunny day across southwestern Uganda, Kabale, Mbarara, Masaka, Mubende, Fort Portal. Those areas right there are starting off with quite sunny skies. We're looking at Ivanda, Kasese, Rubirizi as well. We're looking at quite a sunny morning, Shiboga, Mitiana, Hoima. Looking at a sunny morning for you, Kanungu as well. And that is likely to continue for most of this morning. We're also looking at Midwestern Uganda, Masindi right there, starting off with quite a sunny morning where we see the open gray colors or darker colors right there. That is indicative of a sunny morning for those areas highlighted. Now we're looking at Nebi as well, Arua, Yumbe, starting off with quite intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Much sunshine though across Nebi, and we're also looking at same conditions for Amuru, at Yak, also starting off with mostly a sunny morning out there. Gulu as well, with a little bit of intervals of cloudy conditions. Now more clouds are starting to build up across areas within Kitgum, where we see the white colors right there. Those are the clouds starting to build up, meaning that those could actually be resulting into rainy conditions for this morning across several places, especially within the central part of northern Uganda. That is where we have the likes of Kitgum, but also Gulu starting to build up with those cloudy conditions. That takes in areas of Padel, meaning that you do need to look out for rainy conditions that are expected for that area. Now also similar cloudy conditions are also over areas of the northeastern part of the country, areas of Abim. We are looking at a cloudy morning for you. A little bit of sunshine still coming through for Moroto and Kotido, but Kotido we are seeing a mix of clouds and sunshine, meaning that could also be looking at quite a chilly morning, with those clouds helping to keep temperatures a little bit down for areas within northeastern Uganda. Now eastern Uganda continues with mostly sunny intervals. We're looking at Amudat, Napak and Soroti, starting off with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, and also more sunshine across Mount Elgon Highlands. We're looking at areas of Mbale, Bulisa, we're looking at areas of Palisa as well, starting off with a mix of clouds and sunshine. And we do expect to have a little bit of rains building up later as the morning progresses. But more to that, we do expect mostly areas within the Lake Victoria Basin to continue with mostly rainy conditions for this morning. That is where we're looking at that system, but also more will be developing later in the afternoon for especially southwestern and midwestern part of the country, as well as the central part of northern Uganda, where we do expect to have those rains. Now, still we are looking at dry conditions, especially for the Karamoja region and eastern Uganda, meaning that temperatures are still going to be equally high. This is one of the situations if you're moving up country or if you live around that area, you need to keep yourself with that water bottle because of these temperatures. Well, that is it in terms of weather updates for this morning. And of course, I want to remind you that we do have Good Morning Uganda agenda coming up. Later than that, we'll also be taking you through sports highlights to know how the World Cup is standing right now, and of course more to the games that are being played. And of course that involves an update on what was happening over the weekend with the UBC team showcasing their talent. My name is Mollen, Kenyena. I want to wish you a good Monday and a wonderful week.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800-100-066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
Welcome to English in a Minute. The beginning of spring means sunshine, flowers, and sneezing. Are Jonathan and Anna going to discuss how they don't have allergies? Not cool, guys.
Hey Anna, tell me how the bread baking contest went.
Jonathan, I didn't win. I should have, but I didn't.
Well, what's that trophy for?
Oh, this? I came in second.
Oh, stop. Second place is nothing to sneeze at.
It is when there are only 2 people in the contest.
The phrase "nothing to sneeze at" means that something is not small or unimportant. It should be taken seriously. Sneezing. And that's English in a Minute.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206-400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
We are the DPF. We protect your money. Protection Fund of Uganda.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's what you feel in the gentle caress of tropical wind from the mountaintops. And the glow in your heart from a warm neighborly invite. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. in the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you so much for being with us here on UBC TV. It is your morning show, Good Morning Uganda. We are here every weekday from 6:30. So make it a date with us because we always have so much for you. Some light moments, some jokes, and above all, we start your morning with relevant information that you need to know as you go about the day on the international scene, back home here. So it's a fully packaged morning show, the greatest in the land that you can't afford to miss. Make it a date with us. Now, welcome to this particular segment, Good Morning Uganda Agenda. What we do here is we usually have a guest in studios. We have a topic of national concern, and you're able to be part of the topic of discussion by simply giving us feedback on our various social media platforms, and among which we have our WhatsApp number, which is a 0709 60 25 92. It will be popping up on your screen, and there you can send us a WhatsApp message. You can send us a text message, the traditional SMS. So in case you don't have data but you have airtime, still you can be part of this show, and we'll wait to get those messages. Now, today we are going to be discussing something very important, and these are our children. We are in the longest holiday on our academic calendar, that is third term holiday. And what makes it worse is it's full of festivity. December, weddings, introductions. Now when we go to musicians, it is show after show, concert and all that. But there's also that excitement of Christmas. Merrymaking, some traveling to the villages, others. And amidst this, we have people that need our care, need our attention, who are our children. So we want to look at safety of children amidst the festive season. And joining me on set is a lady from this very Department of Police, that is the Child and Family Protection Unit, Nyonyintono Maria, who is the second in charge of this unit at CPS Kampala, or the Deputy OC Child and Family Protection Unit at CPS. Now, for the men, some when they hear of that, for the women, they're like, okay, yes. But well, let's see how best we can protect and secure our children in this time. You're most welcome, Maria.
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy to have you on set, and also to have a person from this very important unit of police that looks at how we can protect our children, how we can protect our families. Now, just to begin with, what does this unit do, to be more specific and particular?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm Corporal Nyonyintono Maria. I'm second in charge, Child and Family Protection Unit at CPS Kampala. I'm happy to be here addressing the nation about issues of child protection. Since we are in this long holiday, Child and Family Protection, we do a lot of issues concerning family and children. to make sure that there is peace in families and our children are protected. So today we are going to look at protection on children or child protection.
Now, when we talk about protection of children, we know this is a tricky time, like I earlier said. Joy, merrymaking, but also making ends meet, because everyone is now looking for money for Christmas.
Yes.
And this places the children in a very complicated situation. So help our viewer watching us to know what are we exposing our children to in case we do not take them as a priority.
Thank you. Now, during this long holiday, we know parents are working, we have a lot of things to do, but at least you get some time to talk to your children. If you have been coming back very late, when children are at school, most of our children are in boarding sections, but now children are at home. So you try to come back home, you talk to your children, because protection of children starts with the child, him or herself. The child must know that it is his or her responsibility to see that his or she is protected. How? It is you, the parent, me, and everyone to teach the child how to protect him or herself. For example, we have to tell our children that in case you suspect someone to harm you, or you see anything that can harm you, please report it to either any adult or any parent or anyone responsible around you. If it is happening in the house, you can run outside and inform the neighbor, because child protection does not mean that only the parent of that child is the one to protect. Protection begins with the child, then it goes to the parent. When we talk about parent, we talk about anybody above 18 years. So long as you are above 18 years, you are responsible to protect the child. So, when
even if that child is not my child?
Even if that child is not your child, even if you are a neighbor, even if you are just bypassing and you see that the child is being mistreated or is likely to get danger, it is your responsibility to ensure that that child is protected. So can you take me up on that upon child neglect in case I fail to do that? In case you fail to do that, you can automatically be charged of child neglect. Because it is our responsibility, all of us, beginning from the child. The child is to make sure that she or he is protected. So in a case of any danger, we should teach our children, you can make an alarm. If someone is handling you, money handling you, is trying to do anything bad to you, you can make an alarm to alert others that there is danger. Or you can take off and report to the nearby person who can be responsible. So for you who is bypassing, if you see that the child is likely to take a wrong side or is likely to get problems and you just bypass, even you, inside you, if that child get a problem, you will feel guilty. So it is better to protect that child before he falls into danger. We say the child protection begins with a child, then it goes to the parent. It goes to the LOC or local leaders. It goes to the division leaders. Then we reach police.
Now, that rightly said, you know, when you talk about talking to the children,
yes,
most of the parents are feared, not respected. You know, there's a difference between respect and fear. Respect is earned. Fear is something you can impose because of the things you do. You can have a boss and you fear them,
yes,
but not respect them. So they mistake the fear for respect. But how do then parents bring, because you can only talk to your friend, how then do parents position themselves in ensuring they can talk to their children? Some fathers, when they return home, you all go under the bed, you know. Sometimes some homes are violent. So how do we create this conducive environment?
We can create this conducive environment by creating peace in our families. So if there is peace between the mother and the father, automatically the children will be free. So we should make our families violence-free environment. And we should make our children our friends. Now that we know there are a lot of things happening on our children, we should remove that thing of fear. And we teach our children how to respect, but we also emphasize on reporting anything. Even if a child you are sick, you are supposed to report to the parent that I'm sick. Because you cannot just wake up and say, this child is sick. Some of the children cannot show that they are sick. They cannot tell you. They can be stubborn. They pray around. But if you teach the child that in case you are sick, you report to me. Tell me, inform me such that I can take you for treatment. The same way we should teach them to report anything that can harm them. So we should make our families free environment to all of us in the family. First of all, if the wife or the mother respect the father in the family, children will also respect their parents, and the father should also do the same. So we should maintain that respect between us, the adult, such that the children also copy from us, and they be free with us to inform us anything that they are supposed to inform us.
Well, now that goes to parents. It's very important for us to have that conducive, that peaceful environment amidst us or amongst us, so that our children also find it very easy to communicate to us. Sometimes you'll hear the wife saying, I'm only in this home because of my children. So you're not bothered of cultivating or having that good relationship. Husband thinks about me or what they do, because basically they think that it's all about them and them alone. But what we're trying to discuss this morning, we are discussing how best we can protect our children. And very important here is having that conducive environment. Now, one of the biggest challenges today is that the family as an institution has been torn apart. Some are single mothers, some are single fathers, others are absentee parents. We have housemates running these homes. We have the social media, TV, they're the parents. So help us understand, speak to these parents, why it is very important for them to ensure that they are not absentee parents, because one pay school fees, renting, I can pay rent, I can provide what to eat as a man, then why should I be bothered in these petty? The women will tell you, I'm running up and down, maybe I'm the sole bread winner. Now these things, and many will those are weak, they are aging, but take care of you. So much as I look at provision, providing and all that, why should it be very important for me to find time for these children?
Thank you so much. It is very important to find time for our children, even if parents are not staying together. Due to some issues, you find the mother is not staying with the father and the children are with one of the parents. We should get in touch just because of the children, for the good of our children, to ensure that our children are brought up well. We call it parental care. Though you have provided food, you have provided medication and everything, you must bring up these children when they are well behaving, they are disciplined, they feel that they are loved. Because when the child feels that he's not loved at all, you may find that she's misbehaving, say, after all, my father is not here. those are the children who are staying with the mothers alone, who is the single mothers. But even if the father, you are not staying with the mother, find time, talk to your children. We have what we call shared custody. Some parents are not staying together, but they have a right, both of them, to stay with the children. Now that this is a long holiday, children can be with their mother, and the mother parent them in what they are supposed to do in her capacity as the mother. Then part of the holiday, they be with the father, and also the father does his part. So these children will feel loved by both parents, and they will be free. And they will find that if at least the child has something, he has fear to tell the father, she will tell the mother. So we should create that relationship for the good of our children, that we create peace even if we are not staying together due to some reasons, but the children must not be affected by our issues. And during this holiday, let us try to be peaceful at home. Let us try to show our children what they are supposed to do. Before you leave home, you first talk to your children. Tell them something. Then when you come back home, ask them how they are. Because some parents come back late when the children are sleeping. They don't bother to know. They wake up very early and they go for work. You are working for the children, but you must prepare those children. Even if you work for them, when they are not prepared, when they are not brought up well, you will have worked for nothing. So we should prepare our children as we are working for them.
Very important advice there. You're working for these children. Prepare them, get to know how they spent their day, how things are moving on. Now, recently, of course, this has been a crime that comes and goes away. People were kidnapping for ransom. Actually, when you look at records, even in this holiday that we've begun, we've reported some of these cases, kidnap for ransom. Previously, it was more of human sacrifice. But I think either Uganda Police Force or these native doctors through their various association, they have tried to limit kidnap for human sacrifice. Now it is ransom. I target someone's son, someone's daughter, I know they could give me some bit of money. I go, I kidnap that child, begin calling, demanding for money. Of course, the other offenses that happen that injure the safety of children, torture in homes, all that. But let's look at this first, kidnap for ransom. How do we ensure we reduce this crime?
Thank you so much. We can reduce this crime of kidnap for ransom by doing neighborhood watch. If you are my neighbor, and you see something is happening to my child, please make an alarm. Report to the responsible authorities such that that child is protected. And this sensitization we are doing now, we are encouraging all parents to ensure that our children are in a good environment. To teach our children not just go with anybody you don't know. If somebody calls you that you come, I buy for you sweet, you don't know that person, please don't go. So if we do that, if we inform our children that there is a problem, I think that problem of kidnap can be reduced such that the children will be knowing that if I go with the person I don't know, anything wrong can happen to me. So let us continue sensitizing our children, sensitizing the community, and teach them that if you see your child's neighbor or any child is running into problem, please get concerned, because now I'm here, my children are at home, but it is the neighbors taking responsible. Now they are, in case anything happen, my neighbors can call me. So we should all do that. We should do neighborhood watch on our children, on our neighbors' children, our friends' children, even any child you see. These are minors. We are talking about children below 18 years. They don't know really what is good and bad. But if we inform them, they will know, and they will now make sure that in case anything is about to happen, if someone is trying to take me into something wrong, I can make an alarm, I can take off, so that crime can also be reduced.
Well, just remind our viewers, please not send audio messages. My brother with last digits 108, I will not be able to play the audio for my guest neither. Or don't call this line. Simply send us a text message or a WhatsApp message. And I guarantee you the office I have here will be responding. She is from the Child and Family Protection Unit, and she's the Deputy OC of this unit at CPS Kampala. So we are discussing child protection amidst the festive season, where we know so much is happening, and of course, everyone is looking for money for this period. But some are looking for money through the children that you gave birth to. Some know either they can kidnap them for ransom, or others are simply having criminal minds. And they're out there, their pleasure is messing up the destiny of those children. You as a parent, you have so many roles, and one is providing, but also protection of your children. So we want to find out how best can we ensure that this time round, some of the occurrences that have been manifested do not happen. Don't have a repeat of what happened, what has been graduated, that, well, every time it's this holiday, there's so much criminality happening. You know, COVID-19 has shamed us as parents, I must say. The high levels of pregnancy, child mothers that occurred, the torture, the high criminality that occurred on children. Well, many said children are safer in schools than home. And I found that a very awkward statement. Why would I say my kids are more safe when they're in school than when they're in the jurisdiction as a parent that I have authority over? But a few have been coming in, and let me first read out a few of these messages, then I'll get back to my guest. Well, good morning. I think police can do well if only single parents have respect. The single mothers do not care. They pretend they love their kids but do not care to see the child's behavior in a manner where she says the child is clever, and the manners, well, it's a very long one. Please let's keep them very short. But I think he was so much talking about a shared responsibility. Then Kennedy from Gulu City, child protection should not be ignored, because in the long run it may lead to high cases of trauma, ulcers too. Second, parents should try as much as possible to be close to their children, and above all, love them. I love the fact that he talked about trauma. Some children, you just understand that they had issues being raised up. That's why, okay, please don't send these voice notes. I don't know where this began, but we only need your messages. Now, many, also we have a message coming in saying, the child protection unit is good. However, how do we reach them? Well, I think that she will reply, how do they reach to you? But also, please kindly give me your name. There's also one here. Good morning. Thank you for the program. But my concern is many parents are so busy and occupied. Now it's the house girls, house boys, and home caretakers that are managing the children. And he could be very true. Parents are very busy. You leave home maybe at exactly 4:30. You may return at 10. The wife equally works. Now we have nannies, we have maids, we have aunties. Some prefer calling them aunties that are managing, home managers, I must say, to a certain level. So how do we go about this?
Thank you. We had already talked about it, that at least let us try to balance work and home. Make sure at least before you go for work, you talk to your children. And when you come back from work, check on them, ask them how has been the day. We are very busy working for these children, but we must prepare these children and we must guide them such that they grow up as responsible people. There is one who asked how do they reach the child protection. Child protection, when you go to a police station and you have any issue concerning child protection or family, you ask for the child protection department. Or in case of any problem, there are some cases which are committed on children and the neighbors or any concerned person does not want himself to walk to police. We have toll-free numbers which we can call and report these cases, and they work 24/7. Can I read the numbers?
It's okay.
So we have 0800 199 195. It is 0800 199 195. It is, that number is specifically for child-related cases.
So please do not call
family and child-related cases.
When you see a fire, when there is a burglary happening or house breaking, that number is only for the issues.
Even if you don't want to be revealed, for you just call that number, direct them where the case is happening, police will respond immediately. We have another number, 116. You can call 116 in case of any issue concerning children. That is the child helpline. You just call even if you don't have airtime.
116.
116. You just, even if you are a child, you are getting a problem and you need help. You just get or borrow a phone from anyone. You press 116. You will get help immediately. Or if you want to be directed that I'm here but I don't know where police is, or I don't know what to do, you just call on those number 116 or 0800 199 195. They work 24 hours.
Well, that is something I've just learned today, the 116, because we've already said in developed worlds there is a number that even a child can call when they're in danger.
Yes, even this one, both numbers, they are toll-free lines.
No airtime required.
No airtime required.
Well, I want to commend Uganda Police Force for that. Now, how has the police tried to stop child sacrifice, yet parents have failed? I think this is a question. One is wondering, how have you been able to stop, yet parents have failed? But please kindly give us your name. If you want to send some of these messages, I may end up not reading them when we find it hard that you're not, we want to know who is sending us this message.
We can reduce these crimes by reporting them. If the crime, some crimes are committed and we keep them for ourselves, there we sort out that issue. But if the case is reported at police and the culprit is prosecuted, that when the suspect is arrested, taken to police, taken to court, that one has already gone and that one will not commit that crime again. Even others will see and learn from that one. So prosecuting culprits who have committed such offense, it is a big issue in reducing such crimes. And also protecting, let join hands. Let everyone be responsible on protecting children. If everyone is responsible, these issues or cases of kidnapping children, it will be reduced. Someone can be walking, you see someone is carrying a child is crying and you are not bothered. That child maybe is kidnapped. So you please get interested, find out why are you carrying a child and the child is crying. Call other people such that you can help to find out if the child is kidnapped, can be rescued, and that person is taken to police. Yes, please.
Well, there is a very interesting message here. And this one says police should also handle issues of child dress code. He goes on to say, please, dress code is also a very big problem. We need to care, like you see borders who are young and single waiting for your daughters. If she is half naked, she's still young and she can be drugged because these people are using drugs and it becomes, so this is Muhammad talking about parents this time also be concerned about dress code.
Thank you very
Is
much.
dress code also an issue here?
That's
In
what
child protection?
child protection. Dress code is also an issue because you have parents who don't bother. How is the child putting on? You find the child is moving almost naked. Almost naked. We are not saying that if you see someone is putting on a mini, you go and defile that child. No, but let us also bring up our children in a responsible manner. You teach the child how to dress up. You teach the child that when you are moving outside, you are not supposed to be naked. You are supposed to be putting on something responsible, such that when someone sees, you know that this one is a student, this one is coming from a responsible family. So it is necessary for us, parents, to make sure that our children's dressing code is not bad, and it gives them respect, and also the family where they are coming from.
Well, keep your messages coming in. Someone, I didn't get your name. What number can I call to discuss child issues? Well, the number was given to you earlier. It is a 116, and it is a toll-free number. So in case you want to, but this is not for discussing. This is for reporting.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't call police and you want to discuss. No, this, and also we just want to also ask you, please don't make these lines busy for nothing. A colleague of mine, a friend of mine from the Rescue and Fire Services Department told me how sometimes those lines are made busy by idle people. A lady calls, officer, it is very cold here, I don't know where you are, and I know, so please, let's use these lines properly. Because as you're messing and playing around with it, there's a life that needs to be rescued.
And they don't give us false information, because you will be charged of giving the police false information. Call those lines when you have any issue to report concerning a family or children. We have 0800-199-195 and 116. Call on those lines when you have any case concerning children, and that message should be true, not giving false information.
Okay, well, also we have a very interesting viewer here. He says, good morning, thanks for the program. I'm engineer Makwawa Faizo from Mbale, Nabumali. Thanks for the alarm you have come over on UBC. Really appreciate the program. We are all happy police is helping us. But madam, what is your name? Well, some viewers, well, the name is on the, it will be coming on the screen. She is Madam Nachimba Maria from Central Police Station. She is the Deputy OC in charge of Child and Family Protection Unit at Central Police Station here in Kampala. So I think that we've answered very well. Well, still coming in, talk about the rights of young children around streets of Kampala and a lot on streets of Kasese. Most of them have no one to care for them. Felix Selito. So the rights of these children. That is where he's concerned that yes, we may talk about protecting our own children during this period, but who protects these children? That's a tricky one. I don't know if police also extends its mandate there.
Thank you. All children have the same rights. The children who are at home and the children who are on the street, but why should children be on the street? As parents, we should be responsible. If you have produced a child, please take care of that child. Don't bring a child on the streets, and don't encourage children to go on the streets. Children go on the streets. Some of them, they are forced by the situations or the environment at home. Some are they are being mistreated, some they go because of the domestic violence in the home, some goes because they are not guided, they run away from schools. So if the parents will do our role, these children will not go on the street. But those ones who are already on the street, the government is doing its best to make sure that they are removed from the streets.
Okay, another one coming in. This is Kevin from Mukono. Single mothers should not tell the children what happened between them and their fathers. This will help them to have love for their parents they'll freely tell them their problems as early as possible. Now, you don't only handle issues of children, but children come from families. You also handle issues of families. This is between the two parents. And most of the times I've been at the Child and Family Protection Unit as a journalist, not as a suspect or anything. It is one of the interesting units of police I enjoy hanging around. And I have a number of friends that I find this very interesting, that many women that come, much as they'll have other reasons, but the bottom line sometimes is he got another. They say this man doesn't offer child support, this man, then at the end of the day, the whole thing says, he even got another woman. Like, okay, I think another woman is the issue here, not really this. This man doesn't care, doesn't provide. Now, when you look at the person reporting and the person being reported, like, but let's be very honest. This man will tell you, I don't have a job. This one, I'm a businesswoman working this. So how do we handle these issues of child support, because they dominate? Let us send child support, this issue of now another wife, it's a criminal. And your unit, I think, doesn't arrest. Because by the times I've been there, I've not seen someone being told, remove your shoes, remove your belt, remove your watch, go with officer detain.
Thank you very much. I like that last message where the viewer said that we should not tell parents, single parents should not tell children what happened between them. We talked about it even earlier, that even if there are some issues between you, the parents, the children are innocent and they are not supposed to be informed what is not helping them. They are supposed to be given their rights as children, and their rights, these are our responsibilities. If the child is supposed to go to school, don't say that your mother annoyed me, so I'm not taking you to school. And for you, the men, if you have got another woman, please do your responsibility. And to our mothers, the mother of the children, we should also know that the responsibility on our children, it is for both parents. So if you have some money and the father doesn't have at that time, please do something for your child. If a child is sick, don't just keep the child in the house because the father doesn't have money, and for you have money, sente zo inaoza chikazi. For the good of your family and your children, please, mothers, let us get to know that the responsibility on our children, they are on two parents, because we produce these children, two parents. And the Children's Act is very clear. It is said it is the responsibility of parents. It doesn't say that it is the responsibility of mothers or fathers. So it is a joint
so
responsibility.
It's a 50-50.
Yeah, if the father pays the school fees and the mother you are working, you can buy the requirements. If the father buys the food and the mother you are working, you can buy sugar. Don't make your children to suffer because the father's got another woman.
The sole provider.
And
report to police, he has failed here.
Yeah, but you, the fathers, also you have that tendency. When you get a new woman, you get Mugole produces children, you forget about the children you produced first. So you all should also balance the both. Even if you have produced other children.
Some interesting messages in that direction.
Yes.
And I think they are very important. Good morning, I'm Abo Grace in Ramata Chivoga district. Most fathers have left all responsibilities to the mothers. These mothers fail to get time for their kids because she has to look for fees, food, and all necessities. To me, fathers should take up their roles. Fathers are no longer bothered. Even when you call for a meeting at school, you'll get women and a few men. So fathers and mothers should share responsibility. I'm Grace. Then another issue is parents not allowing neighbors correct their children. If a neighbor blames a child, it's a parent abuses the neighbor. Parents also do not control their children. They leave them to roam up and down, and they only come home for food and go back and play, where parents are not even aware where or what type of game their children are playing. Yes, you're very right. I've witnessed this with a number of children there. And then we also have another one. Please, let's make these messages very short. Now, I am called Susie. Madam Maria, can you help me if the father doesn't want to pay school fees to his children? That is a question. So do you come in and help these people? Then I think police is doing well. Okay, please make these messages a bit short. I'm humbly asking. Good morning, I am Dickens from Bweyale. I wanted Madam to first talk about a father who has deliberately refused to pay her 2 daughters' school fees. Yet he is on government payroll, but just doesn't want to use his money for their school fees because he has another wife. The mother of the 2 girls died in 2015. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Let me begin with the one who said some parents, they don't want neighbors to correct their children. For those parents, you can call those numbers. If you try to correct the child, the neighbor doesn't want, that's when you can call 116 or you can call 0800199195. Then you can, that parent can also be charged of child neglect because he's neglecting the children, and when others try to come in, she doesn't want. So it is always good to allow our friends to correct our children. If your children is doing something wrong and the neighbor corrects, please don't take it in a bad heart. It is for the good of our children. Then the last 3, there are some 3, Bob, Grace, Susie, and another one. They talked almost about the same issue of fathers neglecting their responsibility. Please, it is a criminal case. Neglecting to provide necessities, it is a criminal case. If the father has refused, please report that father to police. That father can be charged of neglecting to provide necessities. Sometimes others do it out of ignorance. So when they come to our office, you talked about the issue of not arresting. For us, when we receive those clients, in most cases, we summon the one who is being reported. And when they come, we talk to them, we educate them about their mandates, and the others pick up very well. And they do it because they were doing it out of ignorance. So when we talk to them, we educate them, they do it. But those who fail to understand, we charge them and take them to court.
Seriously?
Yes. And he talked about the person on government payroll. And that one will be very easy. When it's taken to court, court will just issue an order such that the children can get support directly from the man's salary. So that one, Susie should not get worried, or any other parent, if a person is not doing his responsibility and he's deliberately not doing it.
Now, how do you judge that this person is able? Because a man can have maybe 7 children from 7 different mothers.
Yes.
And one time he had a job, now he doesn't have a job. Or the burden is so heavy for him to carry. And this one reports, the other one reports, the other one reports child neglect. But the poor man, when you look at what he earns, automatically he cannot even manage to look after 3. But somehow, that's why for me I believe in children by choice, not chance. But these things happen. So how do you go about that as police?
We cannot say that the man is very poor. The man have 7 children from how many women? In Uganda we have a saying, enjovu teremererwa masanga gayo.
Taina mulimu,
n'enkoko ebojjako enaamira. Tetenkanya ng'omusajja to make sure that you fulfill your responsibility.
What?
If not, you try family planning earlier. Family planning is not family planning is not only for women. Yes. So even if they're already there, But the time you produced them, you knew that this is the responsibility, not only joy. By producing the children, tetunyumirwa bunyumirwa, but you know that I'm creating more responsibility to myself. So the more I produce, the more you work. Don't say that I have a job. You look for any job. If you are working in a shop, you are just, oh, the job is over, look for another job.
I found.
Yes. You do your responsibility since you created it for yourself.
But if you can't earn, then the mothers have to.
No, we should not overload the mothers because the mothers don't bring out these children alone. It was the joy between you two parents. So we should stop overloading the mother. You have even a tendency saying that it is good she's working and for you continue producing. You will be taken to court, my friend. We have seen responsible people whom you think that for them they are big people, they earn big money, and for them they do it also deliberately, that no one will touch me. They have been taken to court. And when you go to court over child neglect, you will not just serve the punishment and you go away. You will still do that responsibility.
Oh, well, time is not so much on my side. There are so many messages, but allow me, we must end this at this point, but we'll find more time and bring the officer or people from the Child Protection Unit. I've recognized there are so many questions here. I've reported a big one. I need help, big man. Now gender issues come in here on parenting. But Afande, let me have your final remark as we wind this segment.
Thank you very much. My final remark, I thank all parents who have tried to protect children who are theirs and who are not theirs. I also thank the schools. Most of the schools, when they were sending our children for holidays, they gave them packages for protection. They taught them how they should behave during these long holidays. So I thank so much our school teachers, head teachers, our parents, our good people, neighborhood watch, those who don't just keep quiet when the child is suffering. And for you parents or mothers who are suffering there because the father is a big person, you are fearing to report her, please, you call on our number 0800-199-195 or 116 or go to any nearby police. Please don't just keep quiet. If you don't get help to that nearby, from that nearby police, call on those numbers. You will get help. Thank you very much. I send greetings to all child and family protection officers and all officers. You are doing a great job.
Well, thank you for honoring our invitation this morning. That is Afande Nyonyintono Maria from Central Police Station. She is the Deputy OC in charge of child protection. Now, one important thing is 116. You can call that number for basically issues regarding children, and they will have a solution, even if your presence is not needed there. So just make that call, and we see action being taken. But above all, the role of parenting is for both of us. It takes two to tango, and it takes two to have responsibility. Let's be very, very responsible so that we have a better generation, a better world, a better Uganda. Have a lovely day. God bless you. Sports is up next. Good morning.